Hello, my name is Clodagh, and firstly, I would like to welcome you all here today. I will be speaking to you about the novel Wilderness by Roddy Doyle, and then I will introduce you to some methods on how to use this novel in a junior cycle classroom. So, firstly, let's look at the learning outcomes. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to explain the relevance of the story to students and the advantages associated with that. I will be introducing you to a variety of methods and showing you in which way this will benefit their study of the novel. You will be able to explain the link between this story and the key skills so that the students can see how this is helping them grow and how this is helping them to develop their key skills. You will also be able to see the cross-curricular links. So, why use this text in the classroom? Well, it's a very exciting story, which will hopefully engage the students and encourage them to want to read it and encourage them to want to read more and hopefully encourage this interest in reading, which will then develop the students' literacy skills. They need to be reading to develop their language and to develop their ability to write. Also, the language used in this novel is very creative and very rich, but yet it's very accessible for junior cycle students. There's nothing incredibly challenging about it. And the author uses nice short sentences to keep the student engaged so that they really are able to understand everything. Students can really relate to this book. The themes in this story are very centered around family life and growing up and the difficulties that come with that. So, a quick summary of the novel so that you can understand how relevant and how this is a very exciting text for the students to study. The story begins with a surprise trip for Johnny, who's 12, and Tom, who is 10, to Finland with their mother. Johnny and Tom's father and their half-sister, Grania, are left behind. And the two stories of Grania and Johnny and Tom run concurrently throughout this book. So Sandra and the boys make a long journey to Finland and begin to learn about survival in the wilderness. And they learn this on their first day or two of their winter safari. They learn how to make a fire, how to treat the animals, how to take care of the huskies, and how to travel on these sleds. The Winter Safari group leave for an overnight trip that takes them deep into this snowy wilderness. The group arrives to their hut and the boys discover their mother is not with them. They were travelling on a separate sled with one of the group leaders, and their mother seems to have disappeared on the way there. The boys have little faith in these guides and leave to search for their mother alone. Meanwhile, Grania, their half-sister, travels to the airport to collect her estranged mother. And their first meeting really does not go very well. Grania is really struggling with meeting her mother, who has abandoned her when she was very young. So she returns home and is encouraged by her father to try again, to speak with her mother again in her own home, on her own turf, so to speak. And we really get a very deep insight into how challenging this is for Grania and how relieved she feels when they reach a conclusion at the end, and and results in being a very positive encounter. So the boys happen to find their mother by shouting wilderness, and she shouts back to them. And they use their survival skills that they have learned to keep her alive. They light a fire and they keep her warm. And they are praised by their rescuers and return safely home to their father and their stepsister in the end. Ways in which you could teach this novel in the classroom. A live reading with characters assigned to students to bring the story to life would really be very exciting, and it would have to be, as it is a long novel, it would have to be read over a few classes. So all students would get an opportunity to be one of these characters and to read read as the character and bringing this story to life, so they'll connect with it in that way. Regular oral summaries of events with all contributing to ensure that they're all engaging with the story. So one line from each student, what just happened, so that the students are all engaging and they're hearing it and it's repetition and the story is, they're really engaging with this content. Creative writing practice, they could write a diary entry of one of the characters, maybe Tom's struggle with feeling slightly bullied by his older brother Johnny, or Johnny feeling that he has a lot of responsibility. And then they could go into groups and take a section of the book and write it as a screenplay. So there's such a connection with technology and with television and film that maybe if they wrote it as a screenplay themselves, they're really connecting with the content. How does this connect with their key skills? It really will connect with being confident. If they are doing these live readings or they're writing diary entries or, performing it as a screenplay, they're really working on being confident. They're listening and they're expressing themselves in class. They're using their imagination. In the diary entry, they're using their imagination. They're bringing in other little elements that we don't see in the novel, but they're understanding the character. Also, this team and group work is seen in the oral summaries because they're working as a group to remember everything that has happened, and they're using the language. In their spoken oral summaries, they're reading, they're really developing literacy skills in using the language. They're writing in their diary entry and they're really developing all of the skills. Cross-curricular links, very strong connection here with the literacy skills. We see a connection as well with Gaeilge, with their subject, because they have to do analysis of the text and the characters and all elements of a novel. We also see a connection with geography, learning about other cultures and their varying climates and how that affects their lives and how they live differently. And most obviously, we see a connection with the SPHE and growing up and family life and how all those relationships really affect them. So just to return to the learning outcomes, I hope that you feel now that you could explain the relevance of this story to students. I hope that you feel you can use a variety of teaching methods in the classroom. And I hope that you feel you can explain to the students how this is helping them grow, how this is developing their key skills. And I hope that you too can see the cross-curricular links. Thank you very much, and I hope that you feel more enlightened and inspired to read the novel Wilderness by Roddy Doyle.